Hey guys, Joshy here, BJ on RaceDay. I've got Bogan here as well.
How you
Thanks for
doing?
joining us this week, buddy.
Yeah, not a problem. I thought you sounded a bit lonely last week, so I thought I'd join you this week just so we can hopefully have a bit of banter back and forth.
Mate, definitely. It's always better with someone on the other end to have a bit of a laugh with. So, obviously, no Brent guys with the SuperCoach Racing this season, but it is the inaugural season. Bogan's going to join us. Again, like me, he claims no expertise whatsoever.
Oh, I claim
Yeah.
even less than you.
But mate, should be good. Look, guys, tonight what we're going to do is we're going to run through the team reveals, the stable reveals for both myself and for Bogan, and hopefully leading into round one, we can give you guys a few tips here or there, maybe a certain horses to look out for. Bogan, I'm sure he definitely can. But look, guys, a little bit of a strategy talk to begin with. Now, I've noticed on a lot of the Facebook pages, we talked about this in the last video, a lot of people putting up their stables with horses that aren't running this week, with jockeys that might only have a few rides. It's really, really important, guys, that you know that you've got unlimited trades. The 10 horses that you have in your stable this week will be a completely different 10 horses next week if they don't back up. If a horse backs up and it races in another race next week, then fantastic. It's just very, very unlikely in the horse racing world. So from a jockey point of view, this week's a little bit unusual compared to the rest of the rounds of the season. This week being that Rosehill, the Sydney races are on the Saturday and Caulfield races are on the Sunday, you've actually got a handful of jockeys that are riding at both locations. What you really want to have is a jockey with a lot of rides at Sydney and on Melbourne on Sunday. So we'll actually talk about a few of the guys who have got rides at both places. If your jockey's just riding at Sydney or just riding at Melbourne, for example, you're really sort of going to sell yourself short and maybe cost yourself some points. So just be wary of that one, guys. Now, from a strategy point of view, look, this week, the two group races, you've got a group race called the Golden Rose in Sydney, and that's restricted to 3-year-old horses. There's also the Underwood Stakes in Melbourne on Sunday, and that's an open class event. Now, all of your horses that are a high price, so your 500, your 400s, are actually going to be in that weight for age race, the Underwood Stakes. Whereas your 3-year-old horses in your Bivouac, your Yes, Exceedance, things like that, will be actually 300k and below. And there's actually a couple of really, really good value horses in that Golden Rose. So strategically, because you get more points for those Group 1 races, you may have more horses in the Golden Rose than you would in the Underwood Stakes, purely because you're restricted by that $2 million stable salary cap. So definitely some strategies there to work out on which horses you do include and which horses you don't. The strategy I'm going to go with is more horses out of the Golden Rose and the 2-year-old races and the 3-year-old races, like the Guineas Preludes and things like that. So I'll run through my team now and we'll build it from the start. I'm going to avoid the Underwood Stakes into too much depth. I do have one horse out of that race. I am contemplating another horse, but it will mean changing around my stable a fair way because it is fairly highly priced. So what I'm going to do, we're going to build the stable from scratch. So Bogan's going to be in control of it. We're going to enter in the horses and we'll give you a bit of rundown on these horses. Now, the first horse I'm going to have in my stable is Bivouac. Now, Bivouac is currently the favourite for the Golden Rose. It's around about $3, $3.20. This horse is priced at $300,000. So it's sort of in that mid-range price for the horses. Last start winner over 1,200 metres in the Run to the Rose. So traditional lead-up race for the Golden Rose, hence the name, Run to the Rose. Over 1,200 metres, the Golden Rose steps up to 1,400. Now, that day, Bivouac did actually have a lot of things in its advantage. We spoke in the previous video about track bias. Bivouac actually had the front running, and the track bias that day was definitely towards the front runners. So another two horses that are in my stable were actually in that race as well, and ran on to look at the placing. So the second horse I'm going to have in my stable as well, which is from that race, is Castelvecchio. Now, Castelvecchio is the top weight, so it's rated actually the best horse in the race. But the key with Castelvecchio is that 1,400 metres is probably a little bit too short. Now, to put that in normal terms, you see Usain Bolt run the 100 metres, and 400 or 800 metres might be a little bit too far for him. Well, Castelvecchio is more like a 400 or an 800 metre horse. Its prime distance is probably 1,600 to 2,000 metres, so it might find the 1,400 metres too short. But I really, really like this horse. It is priced at 275,000. So there are some other horses I'll mention a little bit later that aren't in my team that may come in for this one. And instead of having it in there, I might have a more expensive horse from the Underwood Stakes. So that's what you've really got to weigh up is, I guess, where these horses position with regards to their price and how many points they can earn you. The third horse that came out of that bivouac race is Yes, Yes, Yes. Yes! Now, look, really, really solid horse, this one. I did like its form coming into that race, and it performed quite well. I can imagine that it and Bivouac will definitely find the placings. And the fourth horse I'm going to have out of that race is Exceedance. Now, Exceedance, again, finished, I think it was second in the race to Bivouac. It actually started favourite in that race, but Bivouac was a little bit too good on the day. Now, I do think that the 1,400 metres actually falls a little bit more in its favour. So leaning towards it as a better chance over the Bivouac. You can see there, guys, the first four horses I've picked are all out of that Golden Rose. There's only 8 runners, which means all 8 runners will receive points, whereas in the Underwood Stakes, I think there's about 16 or 17 runners, which means 6 or 7 won't get any points. Even though in the Group 1, obviously, all the races get paid down to 10th place for points. There'll be a lot of horses in that Underwood Stakes that don't get points. Whereas in the Group 1 Golden Rose, you're guaranteed to get points. The fifth horse I've gone with is Lyre, Lyre. Now, Lyre won the Blue Diamond and finished a place in the Golden Slipper last year. Really, really good horse. Has come back well. Now, it does have top weight in the Guineas Prelude. A little bit of an interesting one. It's about a $10 shot. It is $225,000 with regards to SuperCoach pricing. Now, you'll find 3 or 4 runners in this same race that are actually a much shorter price with the bookies and a lot less costing in SuperCoach. So horses like Flit, Pinsec, Tenley, they're all around that sort of 150,000 mark. So unless you really, really like Lyre like I do, you may want to go those ones ahead and use that extra money that you save on them elsewhere. Something like Castelvecchio, I might be able to upgrade to a better horse. The next one I've gone is my Underwood Stakes runner, and that is the Chosen One.
You were the Chosen One! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
Really, really impressed with this horse. I'm not too sure whether he's got the class on some of the other horses in the race, like Homesman, like Hartnell, but I do really like this horse. Plenty of good form around him over in New Zealand, and bringing that to Australia with Murray Baker, I think is a fantastic chance. Then we start to get to a few of the cheaper ones. The next horse I've got is Dabir, Dabiyr, Dabir. Now, this horse is running in Sydney. Look, short price favourite. I think it's around about $3 early with the bookies. Again, another one. I've just sort of watched a couple of its lead-up races. Do like its form. I think it'll perform quite well. After that, I've gone 2 other horses in the same race. One of those is Just Thinking, and the other one is Shadow Hero. So Just Thinking at 150,000. Just Thinking, look, I just think it's really good value, but there are plenty of horses around that same SuperCoach money that you can make arguments for. So he's one I'm looking at. The other one in the same race is Shadow Hero. Mark Newnham trained this horse. I'm not too sure again on his class, but $100,000 being in a group race, I'm willing to take the risk on this fella. Hopefully he performs well and can get me some key points. And finally, to finish out the stable is the value runner out of the Golden Rose. So this will give me 5 runners out of the Golden Rose, and that is Yao Dash. Now, this will easily be the most picked horse in all SuperCoach teams. It is bargain basement price at $50,000. From a bookie's point of view, this horse, we spoke about in the previous video about market movers. This horse is the market mover for this race. It opened up $11. It is already into $6 on some bookies. It's trained by Gay Waterhouse. It's owned by the Dynamic Syndications team. This horse, there's obviously a lot of good mail about it. It's won 2 races from 2. Now, look, from a performance point of view, the 2 races that it did win, the second race there was quite a quality race. The first race was just a standard maiden. So, look, it hasn't beat a bunch of superstars. It has beat some good horses. It does get into a race here now where it really, really gets tested against other good horses. But at $50,000, it has to be in people's teams. I'll be really, really surprised if it doesn't hit over 80% ownership for week 1. Obviously, there may be people who aren't too sure on the racing and the horses and that. But if there's any message we can get out there to people, it's definitely that one. My jockey that I'm going for, we mentioned a little bit earlier about the jockeys. Definitely a key this week is to pick a jockey that's riding in Sydney on Saturday and Melbourne on Sunday. There's 2 key jockeys that I've looked at, and I've gone with James McDonald. Now, James McDonald is one of the premier jockeys. He had a little bit of time out a year or 2 ago for, I can't remember whether it was banned substances or whether it was gambling or something like that. But look, very, very good jockey, plenty of experience, young. He's got good rides on both days. Rides predominantly for Godolphin, I'm pretty sure, but gets plenty of rides for the Waller stable, for Gay Waterhouse, things like that. So, guys, you can really appreciate this guy being on board your horses and know that they'll get the best chance possible. So, good key rides. I reckon he'll get the most amount of points for a jockey over the weekend. The second one that you could have a look at is Karen McAvoy. Now, Karen McAvoy is a name very well known in Australian racing, has ridden plenty of winners, rode the Melbourne Cup winner last year, I'm pretty sure, and has ridden plenty of other big race winners as well. So Red Zell will feature in the Group 1, not the Group 1, but the Everest later in the Carnival, and he rode it the first 2 Everest wins for many, many millions of dollars. So one you can definitely have a look at with Karen McAvoy. The other 2 jockeys that I noticed are riding both days are Craig Williams and Tommy Berry. Both really, really classy jockeys. There might be 1 or 2 other guys as well, but I don't think they've got anywhere near as many rides as those 4. A few horses that I just wanted to mention as well for anyone playing at home and obviously that aren't in my team, but these could find their way into my team. Now, talking to a gentleman on Facebook, can't remember his name, but hopefully you're watching this. We were talking about Homesman. Now, Homesman is currently the favourite at about $2.50 for the Group 1 Underwood Stakes on Sunday in Melbourne. Now, the reason I haven't gone him so far, although I do think he will win the race, is that, as I say, the Golden Rose has only got 8 runners. The Underwood Stakes has got about 16 or 17. It's a harder race. They're more well-performed horses. You've got a lot of classy horses. The third favourite in this race is Gadding. Now, this horse is $5.50, and it won a race at 150 to 1 not too long ago. So anything could win this race. Homesman could perform well. I expect it to. But a horse like Hartnell could come out and return to form and really give them a braining. So plenty of competition in that Melbourne Underwood Stakes race. At this stage, I'm going to steer away from that, and I'm going to go the Golden Rose path. Other horses, and these are actually in the Melbourne races on Sunday, horses like Flit, F-L-I-T, horses like Pinsec, Tenley. These horses are all in the same race. They're all priced at $150,000. I wouldn't be surprised, being that it's a Group 2 race, I actually wouldn't be surprised for people to put all 3 of these horses in their team. They're all well in the market at around $3 to $5 and very good horses. A couple of other ones, Dalasan in Melbourne, Dalasan, $175K, so a little bit more expensive than those, but is a short price favourite for its race. And also in Sydney, another one out of the Just Thinking and Shadow Hero race is Quick Thinker. Now, Quick Thinker, again, Murray Baker trained. I mentioned one of his horses earlier. Comes over from New Zealand, brings a lot of horses over at this time of the carnival, and trains plenty of winners. So Definitely one to watch out for there. But that's it, guys. That is the BJ and Gat. Well, that's the Psycho Circus stable. As I say, it may change. If there are any changes, I will update via Facebook on a few pages that are out there. Mate Bogan, you probably didn't make too much sense of that, mate. What are your thoughts?
Oh, mate, you know more than what's going on than me. I'll just clear that stable now so we can go through mine. Not quite as educated with my picks as yours, but a couple of them are the same. You might notice. I know absolutely nothing about horse racing whatsoever, so I am playing the newbie for you to tutor his way through the spring carnival.
To mentor.
To mentor. To
the Jedi to your Padawan.
You are the chosen one.
You'll have me sitting down at the TAB with all those old blokes by the end of the spring carnival.
Mate, $1 each way here or there. I wish I could still have $1 each way these days. It's more about 100 or 200 each way. But anyway.
Now I've got to try and remember the reasons why I picked a lot of these horses.
Well, must have been a pretty colour or a good name, was it?
Most of the time it was that. A few of them I picked because I liked the look of their form. Whether that actually works, who knows? But first one was Enticing Star. And I'll just bring up what next race he's in.
Priced at about $350K, that one?
Yep, and he's in the Golden Pendant at Rose Hill, race 5.
Group 2 race?
Yep, ridden by your bloke
James McDonald.
James McDonald. Paying $290.
Trained by Chris Waller. So anyone at home, obviously, plenty of people years gone past will see Winks. Same trainer that Winks has got.
Okay, and I think the reason I picked him is because his last 10 has a lot of ones in it. So of his
picket fence, mate. They call it a picket fence.
Yeah. So of his last 10, he has won 6. So I thought for a newbie, that's probably not a bad, a poorly educated pick at all. So
fair enough. Who you got second, mate?
Second, I have got, and I'll be doing a lot of editing during this as I type stuff. Zoo Style.
Okay, Queensland trained horse, running down in Melbourne. Very, very good horse. I think it's won about 6 out of 7. I'm going to steer clear of it because I'm not entirely sure on it, and that race is a very, very tough race. But I'm pretty sure Toby Edmonds from up this way in Queensland trains it.
Yeah, I went a slightly different strategy to you. I've tried to spread my horses out across the races. Tried to not have any double ups. Essentially, trying to go for gold in each race. But that probably won't pay off, considering I have no idea what I'm doing. I think I've only got 2 horses that are in the same race, and you'll see what those are. Because the third one is one that you picked, and it's Yes.
In the Golden Rose.
Yep.
I tell you what, there'll be a few boys screaming that if it gets up. Yes.
And the only reason I picked it is because it is the battle cry of WWE wrestler Daniel Bryan.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
So that is the only reason I picked it. Yeah, because
there you go.
That is his chant as he gets about. But it turns out that a lot of people are picking him for other reasons.
Well, mate, that's probably as good a reason as any. You see plenty of lads Melbourne Cup Day and that, picking based on names, picking based on numbers, and plenty of people go home with more money in their pocket than they began with. So fingers crossed, mate. That'll be you this week.
Next one out was Scarlet Dream. And I've
got to be honest, mate, I don't know too much about this horse. So what race is it in?
Race 6 at Rose Hill.
What's the race called?
The JRA Colin Stephen Quality.
Colin Stephen Quality. So this is a race over 2,400 metres. Does it say the price there of the horse, what price it is in the market on the right-hand side?
$5.
Pay at $5. So that's always a good option. Obviously, the horse is in the market, which means there's a bit of confidence around it.
The last 10 isn't looking very good, though. So,
mate, that's all right. As I say, and I said a little bit in the earlier video, all these horses have a grand final. So you can be guaranteed a horse might run 5th, 6th, 5th, but once it gets to the horse that the race that the trainer is actually trying to win, that's when it'll perform. So it's a little bit dodgy for punters at home if anyone's trying to follow these horses, because you really have to recognise that these trainers want to win one race, because it's really, really hard to get a horse to win so many races in a row. That's why Winx was so amazing, because she just kept going and going.
Yeah, and the only reason I picked one is because I have a thing for redheads. So
fair enough, mate. As good as anything. I'll share that. I'll share that sentiment.
Next one up, a session.
A session. We're going to have a session.
A session, yeah.
A session on the turkeys.
Yeah.
Mate, again, don't know too much about this one.
Sweps Heritage Stakes, being ridden by the jockey you suggested earlier, Kieran McAvoy.
McAvoy, yep.
Paying $5. And I think this was one of those ones where I just had 200,000 to spare in it, so I found a horse that was worth 200,000, chucked it in there.
Fair enough. Mate, look, as I say, it's in the market, so you're in with a show. Stranger things have happened, that's for sure.
Right, this is a little bit one where you're going to shake your head. Next one is Costello.
Costello. Abbott's brother.
Peter Costello.
Peter Costello.
Mate,
we can't get political. We can't get political on the BJ and RaceDay show.
Yeah. Former Australian treasurer, though. Solid economic policy, so there you go.
Corner.
Picked him.
You reckon that'll get you the win on the horses? Yeah, fair enough, mate. That's as good a reason as any. What's it racing in, actually? I've got to be honest.
It's in race 1 at Rose Hill. So just let me
race 1. Okay. So, guys, obviously at home, race 1 at Rose Hill will just be a handicap race.
Yep, Monster Foundation handicap.
The 4 different tiers of racing with your Group 1, your Group 2, your Group 3, and then your listed and handicap races. So if this horse wins, I think it gets about 18 points for the win, whereas obviously a Group 1 winner would get about 40 points. So probably not the best way to spend how much money there, Bogan?
$175,000.
Probably not the best way to spend 175 when you can, I guess, spend a similar amount on horses like Flit that I mentioned earlier, Pinsec Tenley, who are 25,000 less, and in a Group 2 race that'll earn more money. But anyway, on you go, onwards and upwards. Keep going, mate.
Next one up is Harbour View. Harbour View from
solid horse.
French.
Solid horse.
Picked
what
him
have they got at Italy?
Picked him because he's won his last 3. As I said, just trying to spread my horses over the races. So I just went through the races and picked one from that.
Yeah. So, and what price is that one, mate?
175,000.
Oh, sorry. Odds for the race.
His odds is he's paying $3.
$3. There you go. So obviously a good chance there. One thing I'd point out, and a lot of people, you mentioned the win-win-win and the picket fences and things like that.
Yep.
Every race you win, you're more likely to lose the next one, I guess, unless you win. So let's hope his form can continue until the start after that. And what's next, mate? What do you got there? 3 to go?
Next one is Super Seth. Another one picked purely off name. Obviously,
good name.
Obviously, being called Seth, he's obviously one of God's chosen people of Israel, and being super, so he'll have some divine intervention on his side.
Mate, a horse down in Melbourne this weekend. People will see this one run. I think it's paying about $11, but is a good chance, good outside chance in that race. I think it's in the Caulfield Guineas, so one to definitely watch out for. I've seen him in a couple of teams as well, so a few people with the sneaky suspicion he'll either run well or they've got no idea like Bogan and they've just put him in.
Yeah, because he's got a good name.
There you go.
The second last one, Snap Dancer.
Snap Dancer. Mate, sounds like a bad video game character. I don't know this horse.
So that is in the Sweps 1,000 Guineas Prelude at Caulfield. He's paying $11.
Okay.
And I think that's just another one where I was trying to use up my salary cap and
use up the money that was left. Yeah, fair enough.
And
fair
just
enough.
Look for one.
And mate, I'm tipping the final horse is Yao Dash like we spoke about. That'll be the second one. You got the same as me.
Yeah, that is the second one that we've got the same. And it's like, as I said, it's one of those ones where even if you don't know anything about racing, You see him in that big race for 50 grand, no losses on the board. It's a bit of a no-brainer. It's just roll.
Exactly right, mate. Exactly right.
Even
He's
if
trained by the right trainer in Gay Waterhouse. So,
yeah, even if he loses, you're not going to lose much.
Well, this is the thing, and the advantage in this this kind of race. There's really no disadvantage for a horse like that in this race from a Supercoach point of view. At $50,000, if he runs last or second last, he actually can't go down in pricing. You can only go as low as $50,000.
Okay.
So this is a horse that actually can't go down, and if it wins, you've obviously got upside. Also, if it finishes 8th in the race, you get a few points anyway. So my sort of theory behind that is I think there's a few horses in this race that'll finish worse than the 5 that I've picked. Yeah, I'm hoping to get a fair bit of points. Mate, I'm going to go a captain. Now, obviously, we've just deleted my team, guys, but my captain this week, folks at home, anyone who doesn't know, your captain, like in the NRL, gets you double points. I'm actually probably going to go Just Thinking at this early stage. It's a little bit of a dangerous one going away from the Group 1. If I do go back to the Group 1, it'll be Exceedance. I think that's the horse to beat in the Golden Rose. And the race that Just Thinking's in is very, very competitive as well. So it's probably, I guess, a more percentage move to captain Exceedance in the Golden Rose. But they're just my two thoughts at this stage, but could change come race day. Mate, who's your jockey? Did you pick a jockey?
Yeah, Tim Clark.
Tim Clark. All right.
Yeah.
So Tim Clark, very good jockey, riding in Sydney, rides a lot for Gay Waterhouse. He has got some good rides on the Saturday.
I might change that now that you've told me there's a couple of jockeys that are riding in both meets.
Yeah. Doesn't have any rides on the Sunday. I don't think he's riding down in Melbourne. So, look, I think he could clean up on the Saturday, but I'm just a little bit wary. If other rides, obviously 9 races in both areas, obviously there's a possibility of 18 rides. So if you've only got 6 or 7, generally a jockey won't ride in all 9 races just because it's very taxing. You'll see them probably have a maximum of about 7 rides. But, I reckon if you're 6 or 7 rides for the weekend, you're going to sell yourself a bit short on your jockey choice. But, mate, that's sort of it. That's the team reveal. That's mine. That's yours.
We'll see how we go next week.
Look, I'm hoping, guys at home, we can get a little bit of feedback. Whether you want to absolutely bag our teams, whether you want to praise them, but whether you just want to give your own. I'd love to get some comments on your own teams.
What do you think?
Message them through. Give us some ideas on some horses. Yeah, mate, go for it, Bacon.
To all the viewers out there, what do you think that Joshy, the punter king, will have to do if my little stable of uneducated guesses
Here we go.
Gets up over this raisins in my veins. I read it like a book.
Jesus. Oh. We're already back to, I threw those hot chips out, those chili chips. I threw those out. They sat in the cupboard for a few weeks now, and I did a little bit of a pantry clean out the other day, and, mate, they were still fresh.
Be even worse if they're stale.
Oh, well, mate, look, they come in a nice Ziploc bag, and I zipped them up. I thought I might play a little prank on the people at work and put them in a bowl of Doritos or something. But, yes, look, guys, if anyone wants to see the challenges resume, we've got a much shorter season for SuperCoach. I guess it is. I don't know. It is a little bit like that. Like
I don't know if I want the actual challenges to resume because
you just want me to do something.
Well, the likely result is that I'm going to lose every week. I'm making my guesses.
I'd like to think so. But yeah, mate. I like to think of myself as a punter, but I've never thought of myself as a good punter. So who knows? My choices might be a little bit wrong there. But that's it, guys. Look, thank you very much for joining us for the team reveal. Each week we're going to do this. You've got unlimited trades. We're going to redo our team every week. So make sure you tune in, guys.
Might even be multiple weeks.
Obviously multiple times.
When we have those rounds where there's obviously the Melbourne Cup, we'll probably have to do a run through of each horse in that, do a Melbourne Cup special.
Yeah, we will do a Melbourne Cup special, definitely.
Just because it is
we might even do
the nation.
We might even do a Melbourne Cup sweep with any of our viewers. If we get enough guys, we might do a $5 or a $10 sweep or something like that, just for shits and giggles. But yeah, guys, what we're doing with timing wise, it's Wednesday night. The fields have come out today. By the time Bogan goes through this and edits it and everything like that, we'll probably have it up sometime tomorrow, and we'll probably do that each week for the first 4 or 5 weeks until the tournament, until the SuperCoach Racing really ramps up. So, yeah, guys, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We'd really like to get your feedback and I guess people joining in on that YouTube channel. And we'll catch you all next week.
Oh, don't forget, still spots left in the
BJ and Game Day League.
Yeah, that's right. I can't remember the code at the moment.
Oh, BJ and RaceDay League. Yeah. Yes, if you have joined us,
733-727 is
733-727. That's the code, guys.
We've only got half the spots filled. It is still 20, isn't it? Much like the
still
NRL.
20.
So still 10 spots left as we are recording at the moment. So much for Josh's concerns that we were going to run out of spots. It seems the NRL spots are a little bit more hot property than the racing.
Definitely. And that's why I wanted to get it in early last week, guys. I thought, obviously, a new concept with the SuperCoach Racing. We wanted to give people as much time as possible. So with 10 spots left, we kick off on Saturday. Hopefully we can get a league full of 20 blokes who are committed for the 7 or 8 weeks, and we can have a really good competition. I tell you what, I'll put it out there, just like we did with the NRL. If I get beat, I'm not going to go for each person, but out of the 20, if overall points, any one of you beats me, I'll donate $50 to. I tell you what, I'm going to donate $50 to Ty Angland. Ty Angland is a jockey who had a fall over in Hong Kong, probably about 12 or 18 months ago now. He's now quadriplegic. He was a great young jockey. He's got a wonderful family. He's back here now, based in Australia. But there you go. Anyone beats me out of the 20 runners, I'll donate $50 to the Ty Angland Foundation, whatever he's got going on.
Oh, geez, that's a big call. I will make the call that I will either come last, but if by some chance I come first, I will quit my job and become a professional punter. So
I think there's no danger of that.
No, I don't think there is. I think there's more chance of me winning next year's NRL.
Yeah, definitely. All good. All right, guys. Catch you all next week.